Hi guys, I'm really sorry but I completely forgot to film an intro for this, so this voiceover is just going to have to do. So this is just me showing you my current eyeshadow palette collection and just kind of giving you a roundup about what I think about them and how much they cost. Everything that I mention will be posted down below if it is still available, so check it out if you want to. And yeah, give this video a big thumbs up if you like it, and let's just jump into it. So I currently keep my eyeshadow palette collection in this drawer here. The bottom drawer is all just kind of makeup bags and bits and bobs like that. So I keep all of my eyeshadows in this drawer here, and as you can see I pack as much in as I possibly can. Unfortunately we don't have loads and loads and loads of space in this flat, so I want to try and avoid the possibility of having to get more makeup storage. So I try and keep everything in the drawers that I currently have, which is an Alex 9 drawer, and then I also have an Alex 5 drawer with a desk. So I try and keep all of my makeup inside these as much as possible so I don't really have to expand anywhere else. So it tends to be that I get rid of a lot of makeup that I really don't use. So none of these eyeshadow palettes are palettes that I don't use at all, so that's something that's, I suppose, quite good because it proves that every single one of these eyeshadow palettes are actually really worth the money that you pay for them. So that's just a personal opinion, so let's just jump straight into it. I'll show you what I currently have at the moment. So the reason that I'm saying that this is my current eyeshadow palette is purely because I spend an awful lot of money on eyeshadow palettes. I absolutely love them, and every time new eyeshadow palettes come out I really want them. So this is my current one, as probably this time in 2 weeks I may have another 2 eyeshadow palettes, so I will keep doing an updated version of this. So in my drawer at the front here I have all of my just individual eyeshadows. So I have like my MAC Nylon, which you'll have seen on this channel before. I have quite a few Colourpop shimmer eyeshadows. I absolutely love these. I also have a unique pigment here which is really good. I have a Meet Matrimony by the Balm. I absolutely love this shade actually. What shade is this? Matte Kumar, I think that's the shade. I've also got Kiko. I've got some Rimmel eyeshadows. Absolutely love those. I've got some by the Body Shop that are quite bright and colourful. I don't really use those a whole lot, but obviously when I do want some colourful ones, they're always what I reach for. And then this is also where I keep my MAC Paint Pot. I know that they weren't really eyeshadow palettes, but this is just where I keep all of my eyeshadows full stop really, so I just figured I would like walk over those a little bit with you. So I'll just kind of go for it, and the first palette that's in here is my Charlotte Tilbury Instant Look in a palette. So I absolutely love this. This is really easy to take when you want to go travelling. So you've got the 3 colours along the top here that are just very basic eyeshadows, but they just give you a little something. And then there's also a bronzer, a highlight, and then you've got 2 blushes here. So Adam actually bought me this as a graduation present. So I really love this palette purely just because he bought me it. And I also really do like it for when I go travelling up north to Scarborough. I always tend to take this with me because it really is an instant look in a palette, and it just means you don't have to pack loads of other things. So I really do like this. I think it was £49. All of the prices of everything will be posted down below, but I think that's how much this one was. So then in this main section here, I've got all of my Too Faced palettes. So this first one is the original Chocolate Bar palette, which is absolutely amazing. I'm sure a lot of you know about this palette or have it yourself. It is just honestly the best palette ever. You can have this palette, you can just own this palette, and then you could basically never need another palette in your entire life. It's absolutely amazing. I do know that these are £39, which I used to think was quite expensive for an eyeshadow palette, but honestly it's really not, and it's worth every single penny. The pigmentation and the blendability and the formula, they're so creamy and buttery. I just absolutely love this palette. I also have the Semi Sweet, which was the second palette in the chocolate collection. Now this is also really good. I do really like this, but if I'm comparing the two, I do prefer the original Chocolate Bar. But overall, this is also a really lovely palette. It's got some other little flashes of colour here. The only colour that I really don't like is this pink sugar one, as there's literally no pigmentation in it whatsoever. It's just weird glitter, but all the other colours are really beautiful, and you've got some really nice warm browns there. So this is a really good alternative if you're not a fan of the original, but I don't think I've ever heard of anyone that's not a fan of the original. So I would recommend the original over the Semi Sweet. And then I also have the Sweet Peach palette, which is their most popular palette, I would say. And I can see why, because this palette is absolutely unbelievable. I love these colours, and I love the fact that you've got some really dark colours in there as well. So it means that, again, you can create an instant look with this palette every single time you use it, and you're never going to go without, really. You've got everything you possibly need in a palette. I think if I'm comparing the Chocolate Bar and the Sweet Peach, I do actually think I prefer the Sweet Peach just a tad, but that's only because I've used the Chocolate Bar so much that I just like having a little bit of variation with the Sweet Peach. But honestly, these two are really good eyeshadow palettes, and I think they're really perfect if you're just trying out with new eyeshadows, because £40 might seem like a lot, but you get so much for your money with these palettes, and they are absolutely brilliant. So I really do recommend Too Faced palettes. The next eyeshadow palette you've probably all heard of, and probably heard so many people talking about this. This is the Modern Renaissance palette by Anastasia. This is honestly probably my favourite palette of all time, if I'm being honest. I absolutely adore this palette. The formula of these eyeshadows are so creamy and buttery, and they just blend out so well. But then you've also got such amazing colours in this palette. So you've got all of your kind of neutrals here, and then I love like the splash of cranberry and purple that you get. And you get this really dark brown here, which is really perfect alternative. I know it doesn't have a black, and a lot of eyeshadow palettes need a black, but I personally think that this eyeshadow palette is literally the most amazing eyeshadow palette I've ever seen in my entire life. This is £42, I believe, and it's available on the Beauty Bay website. I think it's on Cult Beauty as well, and it is also now available on the brand new Anastasia Beverly Hills UK website, so you can definitely get your hands on this. I believe it's permanent as well, so if you haven't yet bought this, I would really recommend it, as it's probably my favourite palette in the entire world. And I really love the felt on the top here. I think it's really amazing. I mean, it gets dirty really easily, but you can't have everything, can you? So next I have all three of the Naked palettes. So you'll probably have all seen these before, but this is Naked 1, which I really like. This colour Half Baked here is probably one of my favourite gold shimmery shades ever, so I really do like that. You've got Naked 2, which is my go-to smoky eyeshadow palette. Whenever I want to create a really kind of cool toned smoky grey look, I always come to this palette. And then there's Naked 3, which is actually my personal favourite, because you have all of your kind of rosy gold pinky tones in here. A lot of people really don't like this one, but I personally love it. It is my favourite, just purely because I really like these colours on my eyes. So this is a definite favourite of mine. You all pretty much know about the Naked palettes by now. I also have the Tartelette in Bloom palette, which has seriously had some use. This is absolutely gross now. As you can see, I absolutely love this top shade here called Charmer. This is my ultimate favourite colour for setting my eyes when I begin a look. As you can see, I have seriously hit pan on this. But again, I absolutely love this palette, especially when I'm going travelling up north, because it's so small. Then the colours are so amazing that I could really just make any kind of look with this. It can go from being a day look to being a night look, and you've got everything you need in just this one palette. This isn't a massively pricey palette just when it's on its own, but when you're getting it into the UK, it can add up a little bit. I think I got this when it was a free shipping once, or there was some kind of offer on or something. So if you are wanting to invest in it, but you're not really willing to pay all the taxes and the shipping from the Tarte website, just keep an eye on the website, and there will be some kind of offers or something happening soon, I imagine. So it was definitely worth every single penny I spent. I love this palette. I then have the Saharan palette by Juvia's Place, which I've recently spoken about in a recent haul video. Again, I haven't really used this too much on my eyes yet, probably once or twice just when I'm having a bit of a play around. But so far, these colours are absolutely amazing. They seem really good quality. I absolutely love, oh my god. Let's give you a couple of, look at those colours. They are absolutely beautiful. Oh my god. I really want to do a tutorial on this. I might do that quite soon actually, because I really want to get that out there and do a really good tutorial with this. I should have got face wipes out before I started this video, because I knew I couldn't avoid swatching. So down the side here I have some more palettes. So I have the Kathleen Lights Morphe palette, which you've seen on my channel quite a few times. I absolutely love this. I use it quite a lot. It's got really beautiful colours in there, but unfortunately this isn't available anymore, I don't think, so I'm not going to talk about this too much. It's just a really beautiful limited edition palette there. I also have my Jeffree Star Beauty Killer palette, which again you will have seen if you saw my Jeffree Star Cosmetics series. There was a 3-part series. I'll post it down below if you haven't yet. But these are really bright and amazing colours, and I used both of these colours on one look, which was really daring of me, but I turned out actually loving it. This palette is such good quality eyeshadows. Honestly, I absolutely love it, and I'm kind of itching to get my hands on the Androgyny palette soon, so I will definitely be doing a tutorial with that soon. But if you would like to see any more with this Beauty Killer palette, please let me know. I then have the Carli Bybel BH Cosmetics palette, which I absolutely love. If you haven't seen this palette yet, you're kind of really missing out, because you've got all of these beautiful eyeshadows all along the top, but then you've got 4 face highlights as well, but you can also use them as eyeshadows, because obviously these two are really only the 2 that I can use on my face with me being so pale. So I use these 2 as eyeshadows, and really they are absolutely beautiful. They are so pigmented and have such a really buttery formula. I'm not sure if this is still available. I have a feeling that it's not. I think it's on its way out now, but I do believe that she's bringing out like a part 2 palette, which is meant to be bigger than this and have some more shadows in there. So I would definitely keep a lookout for that if you haven't already, because I think that's going to be amazing. And then here I just have my Z palette, which is full of my Makeup Geek eyeshadows. Again, I've spoken about these on my channel before. You can see all of these colours swatched on my hand in a video. I will post it down below for you, but this is just my Z palette, and this is my ultimate go-to palette. I love this. There's nothing that I can't find in this palette, which is the whole reason I created it. So then I'm heading to the back now, and at the back I have my Masquerade palette by Juvia's Place, which is my real palette that has the pop of colour in there. So all along the bottom here you've got all of your neutrals, and it's a really neutral palette, but then at the top you've got all of these absolutely amazing quality eyeshadows. So again, I will just show you a couple. Seriously, look at those eyeshadows. Oh, they are so beautiful. And again, I'm planning on doing a tutorial with this palette very soon, so keep an eye out for that. I then have my Laura Lee Violet Voss palette, which again I've used in a recent tutorial, so this is absolutely amazing. I really like the quality of these eyeshadows. And then I also have the Violet Voss Holy Grail palette, which again is absolutely beautiful. It reminds me a lot of the same colours that are in the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette, but there's just a couple of different colours in there, and they're really beautiful to blend. They're really seamless, and I really do like these. So both of these Violet Voss palettes are absolutely beautiful. They've just got different packaging, because Violet Voss have recently changed their packaging. So it used to be like this, and it's a lot thinner, but it's recently got a lot thicker, and it's kind of got this like monochrome front there, which I actually prefer this one to the old one. So that's just a little cool fact for you there. Along the side here I have the Tartelette Pro palette, which is another Tarte palette, and again this is absolutely beautiful. I asked for this for my birthday, and I was lucky enough to get it on free shipping as well, so it worked out really well, again coming from the Tarte website. But this is honestly just the most amazing palette ever. I can't really say enough about this other than it's unbelievable, and you really need to try and get your hands on this if you haven't already. At the back then I have my Morphe 350 palette, which I'm sure you will have seen so many times on other people's channels, and you've probably got it yourself by now. This is probably the most popular Morphe palette that there is, and with good reason. You literally only ever need this palette in your life and you are pretty much sorted for everything. You've got some shimmers, you've got some mattes, you've got the darks, you've got all of the neutrals, you've got a little splash of colour there at the side, and there's just nothing you cannot do with this palette. I absolutely adore it. I then have another Tarte, which is the Amazonian Clay palette. I've spoken about this in a disappointing products video. I do keep hold of this purely because it cost me such a lot of money, and I will probably do it again in a kind of products I dislike video, but I'm not really willing to get rid of this purely because it cost me so much money. It was around £50 mark, I think, so I'm not really willing to get rid of this, but I don't really like the quality of these shadows. I don't really think there's anything for me in this palette, and it was a real big letdown, so yeah, pretty disappointed with this palette. Then at the back I have this e.l.f. palette, which I've had for such a long time, honestly, but I still have it because here you've got all some like really beautiful blushes and some bronzers, but then underneath you have a full-on eyeshadow palette, and it has every single colour you could possibly want, aside from like pinks really. I've really used this palette. As you can see, I've hit pan on a lot of them, and I've had it for such a long time. My mum bought me it as a gift, and I absolutely love it. So I actually do use this fairly often, to be honest, and those blush colours are so, so beautiful. And then finally at the back here, I've just got our Miss G Couture contour palette, which is, I rarely even use this, to be honest, but again, I just keep hold of it because I did spend quite a lot of money on it. And that is all of my eyeshadow palettes at the moment, guys. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!